Let's make a start. Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Town Council's Plans A meeting. We'll just introduce the members and the officer who are here this evening. I'm David Williams and I'm a Town Councillor for Harpenden North.
I'm Head Scott, the officer from the Town Council who administers the clerks of the Town Council.
Hello, I'm Pip Martin, Town Councillor for Harpenden East.
I'm Harry Gillam, Town Councillor for Harpenden South.
And I'm Michael Weaver, Town Councillor for Harpenden West.
So we're all here. Declarations of interest. Does anybody have any declarations they want to make?
No.
In which case, I do need to make a declaration. I'm going to make a personal non-pecuniary, declare a personal non-pecuniary interest in relation to the application on page 11 for 23 Field Close. And I will take any part in that. Okay, minutes of the meeting held on the 21st of March. I wasn't actually at the meeting or was present, but can I sign in as a correct record of the meeting?
Yes, I think
Yes.
Agreed? Any comment questions?
No, none of them received.
Okay. So agenda item 5, we're addressing applications that were registered during the week ending the 31st of March and then also the week ending the 7th of April. Looking at item 6, is that...
It should be no letters of rejection.
Right, it's not supposed to be TWO
No.
either. Right, okay.
No, it's just TO. It should be no letters of rejection as opposed to two.
Okay, excellent, that's perfect. As Mr. Roberts is here and is interested in the application for 26 Bowers Way, let's consider that application first and foremost. So, Mr. Roberts, were you intending to address us this evening?
Yes, I gather I should have no longer than 3 minutes.
That's correct. So, do you want to come up to the table and join us?
Please.
And Heather will circulate the papers. Start off with Heather.
There is actually a tabled letter which Mr. Roberts' wife forwarded to me today, which is if I can draw your attention to that.
And so then this is a rather unusual application. This is a detached house on the corner of Bowers Way and Thompson's Close. And the proposal is to convert it, to extend it and convert it into 2 4-bedroomed semi-detached houses. And I just stopped my phone, just bear with me a second. Okay, so if you're ready, over to you.
May I ask you a question before I start? My preparation has been rather short-lived because I'm just literally back from holiday as of about 2 hours ago. What I was proposing to do is just run through some of the points in the letter.
That's fine.
Is that everyone happy with that?
Yes,
okay, fine.
that's really helpful.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, by way of background, thank you very much for your time. I live at 24 Bowers Way, which is a neighbouring property, so perhaps obviously I'm the person who's most likely to be impacted by the development. I would say on behalf of myself and my wife that we are actually supportive of the redevelopment of this plot. It's been a little bit of an eyesore on the conservation area for the last few years, I think, because some derelict and has also been broken into a couple of times. So we are in favour of it being redeveloped, and actually I'm not adverse to extensions per se for the building. Certainly towards Thompson's Close there's plenty of space for expansion. But our feeling is that this is not in keeping with Thompson's Close, and it doesn't with Bowers Way, and it doesn't go to preserve the conservation area on a number of grounds. There are a couple of inaccuracies in the applications I would draw your attention to first. One is in relation to a cherry tree which is on our property, where there is an estimate in the agriculturist review that the tree would have a chest height diameter about 200 to 230 millimetres. It's actually more than double that size. So in terms of the area of the roots for protection, I think it's much larger, and I think it would be impacted by the quite extensive basement that is proposed by this development. The other aspect that I wanted to flag, and I'm not a planning specialist by any measure, but I noticed reference to a 45-degree line which was taken from a window on our property. However, it's not the window that's closest to 26 Bowers Way. We have a window which is notably closer, and if that window is used, then the 45-degree line is breached. If I were to give you ease of reference to this, in one of the application diagrams there's a plan from Howard Peace which gives you some floor plans, and in there, just outside the markings for his firm, there is a rough outline of where our property is, and above the reference to revision or date, that's where our closest window is for that 45-degree line. So those are the two kind of, I guess, the factual inaccuracies I'd want to flag. The other to say that, the key for the conservation area is that redevelopment and development for the developer should be sympathetic to the surrounding buildings and the characteristics and appearance of the conservation area. Particularly the extensions to the south make an enormous change to the balance between the building and the plot. The gardens become a fraction of the size relative to the rest of Bowers Way. It becomes quite stark if you look at it about how big that change is. I also have concerns about how long the space at the front is going to be preserved for car parking, because Bowers Way, as you probably know, is proposed to be changed to double yellow lines, single yellow lamp parking on Sundays, and I don't feel that parking is going to be sufficient. Certainly for us, we have a single parking space outside of the garage, and that's not sufficient for us, and we're thinking that we need to do something about it. We think that it's just basically too big for the plot. The space is just too large. It's 238% bigger than the current property. So that gives you an idea as to how big the scale is. I don't think it goes towards policy 2, which is to protect and enhance the characteristics of the existing settlement. I don't think it goes towards policy 85, as having regard to the surroundings and the existing balance of buildings and landscaping. I think it bears no resemblance to those features whatsoever. I think to say that the house will enjoy a much better relationship with the garden space referred to in the application is misleading, because actually it's a much smaller space in which it has relationship with, and therefore I think it's disconnected from that garden space as a result. I think that one of the aspects...
We're running out of time.
Okay, the final point is to say that on policy 70, subsection 6 is about a tolerable level of visual privacy. And I feel that the level of extension really eats into our privacy, into our garden and also our living space. And so I'd ask you to take that into consideration as well in your deliberations.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Can I just check with you, the window that you talked about, which is the correct one,
yeah.
What sort of room is that? It's
currently used, it's just off our dining room, but we've lived there for about a year, and the previous owner used it as a workshop, but we're going to change it to being an office. I've got 2 children, I don't need a workshop, but I quite like to have this office space.
Right, okay. Excellent, thank you.
No problem.
Do you want to leave us now and go back to your...
Of course, thank you.
So Ms. Roberts has raised a number of issues in relation to the size of the proposed development. He touched on parking. Now, one of the things that's rather unusual in this is that the proposal for the property adjacent to Thompson's Close is that there would be a single garage plus an area for a bit of driveway where presumably a second car could park in front of the garage at the rear of the property. So there's no parking proposed at the front of the property. Parking to the second property is to the rear. And it seems that it's just two spaces,
Just more or less.
for a four-bedroom
Yes.
property. And then it's not entirely clear to me in terms of the property on the right-hand side, where my recollection is that they are retaining the garage. But there seems, it's not entirely clear to me that there is room for two cars in the driveway there. Actually, what's worth just reflecting, can you just bring a street view, which was quite helpful, I think. So, question of trees has been raised, question of amenity space has been raised. Obviously, this is in a conservation area. I was just looking to see if it was locally listed. And the property...
It is locally.
Okay, it's 1 to 27 both alternatives, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now the difficulty is that the street view has quite a lot of trees on the site. It's not the clearest to see it.
But if you go a little bit along and see the front where that red car is, that's helpful. Yeah,
Okay.
just hold that there. And then if you see the proposed elevations, you can see how they're proposing to retain that sort of projection at the front and the, I don't know if you call that cat's eye roof, but they want to put a dormer window in there. I think, and then you can, well, it's not really clear what exists behind the hedge. That's where we to extend out to the So, there are quite a few issues there. Your views. I appreciate your views. What do you start me off?
Hang on, I'll just get myself. I think for me so far the main issues here are the parking, but also I think the window-to-window distance and the privacy between the dwellings. So that's not going to be complied with. So I think the amenity space for the neighbouring properties. Do you want?
That's there.
Yeah.
Also the tree, and you could say it represents an overdevelopment of the plot, essentially. Don't really like the carport in the garden, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, anything you want to add?
It is a larger plot than many of the ones in Bowers Way, but it is very typical where people are trying to put two houses in the place of one, which if it's in the centre of the town is probably a reasonable idea. But then comes up the big question, which Councillor Harry has just said, parking. I'm very dubious about the parking arrangements here, and to me that is probably one of those concrete things. The other thing is the street scene. I don't think that was suitably designed and things. I don't think that's because it is a wider plot than the majority of Bowers Way properties. But I feel that the parking is considerably out of place. Actually, it doesn't comply with our normal procedures here.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if planning officers took the view that this was a very sustainable location. And as you can see, there are double yellows, so there isn't really much opportunity to actually park out on the street. Anyway.
I agree. I just think it looks like an overdevelopment of the site. Not just parking that doesn't conform with policy, the amenity space is pretty small. I don't know if you've got any mention of that.
It's roughly 13.5 metres, 13 the back.
I think the amenity space is okay. I think I was more referring to the amenity for the neighbouring property was just a window to window. Well, sorry, carry on.
In particular in relation to number 24?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
One thing we've got to take into account here as well is that we've got this addition of this basement. And when you look at this plan here, when we're building into the roof as well, we've got a lot of space being utilised as well. Makes it quite a large block on the plot. With the extensions and
the garden meets the criteria for the minimum criteria, but yes, whether in the past with certain applications we talked about poor amenity space, and this might fall into that category, I guess. Okay, anything else?
Obviously, the concern with the inaccuracies in submission. But yeah, for me, I just think it's development generally.
Okay, and so am I sensing that this is refusal rather than...
Yes,
I
definitely.
think definitely.
Right, so committee can recommend refusal, and have you picked up
various elements that Mr. Roberts referred to, which I think have been echoed by the committee.
Should we note that it is a sustainable location, but this development doesn't seem right for the plot. It's an overdevelopment. Cause I think Mr. Roberts said it's corner plot that's been shabby for a while. It's just that this one is not the right form of development in terms of planning.
Yeah, I'm happy to say that the committee considered the proposal an overdevelopment of the plot. The issue about sustainable location is more in relation to parking provision, but
Still doesn't meet policy.
no, it doesn't. So, as I said, the officers and stores may take a different view on this because they might consider it a very sustainable location, but that's no reason why we shouldn't highlight that it doesn't meet the policy requirements. And then I think we should point out that the committee considered that the rearward projection does in fact encroach on the 45-degree line from a living room window at number 24. And then the only other thing I would say, Heather, is in relation to when we were talking about overdevelopment of the plot, can we put in a sort of therefore it won't preserve or enhance the conservation area?
Yes.
I mean, this is locally used to building as well, which we have to take into consideration.
Yeah. Okay, anything else that...
Do you want me to mention anything at all about this this carport as well that's at the rear of the property?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree. I
Do you
don't
want me
like
to
it
make
at all.
reference to that at all? I mean, it's sort of kind of this rather strange stilted
Oak type.
there.
Yeah, so really we're talking about that being out of character, aren't we?
Yeah,
Yes.
because if it wasn't there, it'd be parking space anyway.
So the proposed carpet, the committee also considers the proposed carport.
Out of character. And then would you like to make reference to the trees at all? Yes, what it's referred to?
Yeah.
Do you want me to sort of mention about the inaccuracy of the tree, is it the cherry tree?
Yes,
Robert,
that's right.
is it? Yeah.
Now, Mr. Roberts, I don't know if anybody has explained to you what's going to happen next now. our views as a committee are purely a consultation response
I understand.
to the district council. I would urge you to submit your own response to the district council. You can either do that by email, or if you go on their website, there's the facility to add comments to a particular application. Now, the other thing that I should then point out is that ordinarily the decisions on something like this will be taken by professional planning officers at the district council. Now, you can ask one of our district councillors to call this in to a committee of councillors if the planning officers are minded to approve it. So, do you know which list this is on?
I'll have a look. I'm feeling the second list actually, because Mrs. Roberts contacted me, so I think immediately actually as soon as she found out. That might be Mrs. Roberts, I think your wife contacted me as soon as you'd had the letter.
Yes, we had to. There's been an amendment, I think, to the description, so I think she contacted you once she had the second letter, because we were working off that date for our deadline.
Let me just double check, I'm pretty sure it's second list.
Okay, so that means we've probably got until a week on Friday for this calling process to happen.
Yeah.
It can only be done by a district councillor, so none of us are able to do this. But
no, I think it is the first list, actually.
I gather we had 21 days from about last week, I think, when the amended commission came.
Friday. Okay, so it's actually this Friday that the calling needs to be done by.
Okay.
So I'm more than happy to contact Councillor Stevens and ask him to consider this. It's within his judgment to say yay or nay, but this is, one would view this as a backstop. So in the event that the planning officers are happy with it, there is this opportunity for it to go to a committee of councillors, and which is like this meeting on a grander scale. So in the civic centre in Strawburns, you have an opportunity to object. The proposer of the application may choose to speak in favour of it, and so forth. It's all explained on the district council's website.
So we should contact Councillor Stevens?
Well, I'll contact him this evening.
Okay.
And can you just leave your email address?
Of course, yes. Thank you very much.
Right.
So in that context, will you drop me an email then?
Yeah, so I'll send you an email this evening. I'll copy you in on the email I sent to Councillor Stevens.
Thank you very much.
And he will reflect on it, and then he may well get in touch with Heather, but it's down to him to decide.
I understand. Thank you very much indeed.
I'm more than willing to sort of guide you through the process, because of once Councillor Stevens decides that he would like to call the application in, then there's a little bit of a waiting game to find out whether or not it does go to a planning board meeting, or if the officers were in agreement that they weren't keen on it, then it will mean essentially that that's it, that they'll reject it, and then that'll be sort of end of this particular application. But it can take some time, especially if it goes to planning board meeting, then it's a case of keeping an eye out to see which meeting it goes to, and things. So I'm more than happy to guide you through that process.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's very kind.
And you're more than happy to welcome to contact the individual councillors who sit on the Brands North Committee, and you'll find them on the website.
Okay, fine.
To place them.
If it comes to
if it ends up being called in.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you very much
all right.
indeed.
That's all right.
I shall leave you to it.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
Okay, so should we go back to the beginning?
Go back to the beginning. Do you want to just sign in? Yes. Do you want to sign into the attendance record before we get there? You get a bit carried away.
On the north step.
It'll be me that'll be on the north step. But not get me to sign in.
So we've obviously got a series of recommendations from Heather, including this first one at 34 Ramsfield Avenue in Harpenden, the single part 2-storey rear extension. I have no objection to this. Anybody got any concerns?
34 Roundfield. Right.
No? Okay.
Have you delivered them?
Okay, happy? You don't want me to say my I know.
No, happy with that.
Moving on.
14A Manland Avenue, single part, first floor, front
Thank you.
and single story side extension installation of roof lights. Again, I have no objection. Have I done say?
Do you want me to say my blurb?
Well, you've covered
Okay, building out over the garage to the front, the neighbour extends further forward than this proposal, reducing the width of the garage and extending footprint to be in line with the garage. Proposals appear to be in keeping, will not impact on the neighbours. A nice addition to lose the flat roof to the front. Additional bedroom appears ample parking. Yeah.
Happy with the recommendation?
Yes.
Yeah.
54 Chesterton Avenue. Again, no objection, but subject to.
Yeah, so I've got changing front door to be on front, obviously it's on its side. Houses are staggered. The neighbour on the side of the proposal is set further forward. A neighbour's garage and gap to the boundary reduces the impact. Garage is being demolished, no change in number of bedrooms.
Okay. And then 17 Chesterton Avenue, two-story side extension.
Yeah, property is quite separate from the rest of the street, has no neighbours to the side where the two-story side extension is to be, and surrounded by grassland, straight community space, no increase in the number of bedrooms, just the size.
Right. Yep. And now,
Okay, this one, yeah.
so this is 10 Clarendon Road. This is a bungalow that they want to add a story to. And this bungalow actually sits next to a very tall, old, three-story property, but the issue is really one of its impact on the property in St James Road, which is the side of it.
I mean, presumably if they're going to put two stories in, that's going to create some serious shading for
Well,
property on St James's Road, do we think? Or?
the street view image is probably a good place to start.
I'm not sure, does it actually slope away? Does St
Well,
James's Road slope down slightly? Sort of
It
kind
must,
of,
it must.
yeah, but
It
it
does.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, just looking on the street view images, sometimes difficult to gauge, but it looks as if the St James's Road houses were a lot lower than where this bungalow is set slightly higher.
Yeah. So, in fairness, that would have a, the extension of this additional story would have a greater impact because the land falls away.
Yeah.
However, is it that significant? And in some respects, the house next door still overshadows the
This
houses.
one?
Well, both of them.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, the one from James's Road and the one that's been built.
We haven't had any letters of objection, have we?
No, I
No.
did look actually.
I had a look today.
I did query about enough parking as well actually, because if you look at the image, there's only sort of, well it looks like there's just about enough space to park one car, if not two, at an absolute push. And we're now moving on to 4-bedroom
Yeah.
substantial property. And there's no mention that they're actually going to be adding any additional parking, it just says all the proposed works affect the parking arrangements, and they know.
That would be a problem then. If it's
Yeah.
4
Can I
bedrooms.
just tell you to get the
Yes,
street
of
view
course.
up? Because there was, well actually no.
Or is it, hang on, is it definitely 4 bedrooms? So have a look at the
Well, yeah, and there's a basement,
Yeah.
or basement extension. Mike, sorry, can I show you the picture? Because that gives a bit of a feel of time. Okay, so at the moment there's what potentially is one, maybe 2 cars of course. Okay. Okay, so, yeah, there you can see. And do you just want to pan round so we get a real sense of, no, towards St James's Road, the other way?
Definitely a lot lower, isn't it?
Yeah, so the street is going down, but then they're also built into the side of the slope there, I think, a little bit, aren't they, the ones on St James's Road. So, the question is whether we feel all of those, oh, and they have got a garage.
No, that garage belongs to the other
Yeah.
people, I'm afraid, yeah.
So that belongs to St James's Road?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
You
If
can
you
see a
look,
fence.
the fence is the same.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, and you can obviously see the scale of the property on the right there, which is,
Quite substantial.
yeah, that must be a good 10 metres in terms of ridge height. And you can see, now there aren't any leaves on the trees, but there's still a bit of shadowing from the big house onto the bungalow. Bungalow. Yeah, the sun is
Well, okay.
So, I mean, the issue is whether we feel these issues are significantly material.
Well,
Any strong views?
I do think St James's place, that's the one. The property there, I think their amenity space will suffer. I think there will be some degree of overshadowing onto the property. Surprising they haven't, I mean, I take it they do know about the application. Surprising they haven't objected to
Did
it.
look actually, Harry, and there was nothing on there this morning.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got the property next to it, but that's, again, it's further down, so
But
this one's closer.
it might be, as Mr. Roberts said, they've been away on holiday and just simply not be aware of it.
True, yeah.
It doesn't provide enough parking.
Yes.
Don't believe
Right
them.
Okay, so we certainly want to express concern about the parking.
Definitely,
In terms of the influence, in terms of the impact on St James's Road, are we expressing concern, or
yes.
do we want to go further than that?
Yes.
Also, what in terms of windows, are there going to be any windows
There are a couple of small ones, Harry.
into the garden?
No, that's existing.
Westview,
So
is it this
No.
one?
Proposed.
oh, sorry. Yeah.
And then street
So on
view.
there, Harry, there are
Oh, yeah.
2 ground floor small ones and
Yeah.
one up.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me. It doesn't say obscured, but it may well be bathroom.
When the ground floor ones, I'm
Mind
taking
you,
it
though, hang on a
into
minute.
the
I think
garage.
the one that Pitt's got is the one that's going to affect the St James's Road one. That is the other side,
Sorry.
I believe.
You're
Yeah.
right, you're right.
So there's quite a few more windows on this side
Yeah,
here.
the west view, yeah.
It is north elevation.
Yeah, you're right.
But when it's not just the adjacent property, it's the one we can just see the window of further
The
down
back.
the road as well.
Yeah,
isn't it?
probably more than
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Road.
You know, to be honest, I'd be minded to refuse.
I would be minded to refuse.
Yes.
I look at it and I do think it could be lots of amenity to the house in St James's Road. Parking is a problem. You could be tempted to say I don't think window to window space, or is it? Are we having a problem with window to window space as
They
well?
don't do side window
Oh,
to rear window, unfortunately. It's 45 degree angle
Yeah.
rear to rear.
Yeah. You could say it's.
But it's still overlooking potentially. I mean, it's quite clear the windows on that side are going to be bedroom windows, they're not just little utility on the suite.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an overdevelopment, it's not out of keeping with the character because you've got the property next door to it, so they're not really the concerns of it. I think it's just amenity and parking. If there's anything anyone else wants to mention.
Okay, so we're in the realms of 72.5, effect on adjoining property.
Yes.
It's really the houses in St James's Road, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, you can't really
So-
talk much about the street scene in the house.
I mean, sort of to look at it in the street scene, it's a nice looking house.
It's a sort of gradation of the
Yeah.
houses in many ways, but it is undoubtedly going to be, well, incongruous as regards to St James's Road properties there, I feel, very much.
So, effect on adjoining property.
Yeah.
So we're recommending refusal. and it's not, it's properties in St James's
Yeah,
Road.
got that, yeah.
And then the committee, also highlighted the parking provision for this four-bedroom property, for the four-bedroom property.
Are we going to mention, we mentioned policy 72.5, should we mention policy 76, the privacy between dwellings, regarding visual privacy?
That how it
so
relates to, is it what,
new
policy
houses.
70?
Yeah,
Yeah,
policy 70.
new houses on.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, well,
Yeah, it has
thought
to be
was,
72.
yeah, new houses, yeah, I thought,
Yeah,
because we're
sorry.
knocking this one down and building a new one, I thought it was still technically new.
Okay, long time.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Excellent. A variation of condition in relation to 11 St James's Road.
All that is proposed is the addition of a single story extension to the rear, the site slopes away to the rear, thus reducing the impact of the neighbours.
Okay. No
Don't
objection.
see any problem with that.
Two-storey rear extension at 116 Tufnell's Way. 116 Tufnell's Way, this is right at the end. Tufnell's Way.
Yes, this is actually one of the new builds that looks out over the farm field round what was not your standard Tufnell's Way application that you'd expect. It's actually round and it overlooks
The Chatham,
The New
yes,
Zealand,
yes.
Yeah, so the end one. Yeah. Okay, so no objection to that.
no,
Alright.
Then 66 West Common, this was demolishing an existing outbuilding and then putting a single-storey, quite significantly sized single-storey rear extension, but in many respects replacing the existing outbuilding.
Proposal is for single-storey rear extension following the demolition of a poor condition outbuilding. Garden is ample. Neighbour to side of extension a good distance away. Other properties in the row have dormer windows. Proposal is here in keeping.
Okay.
okay.
And then this is conservation area. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And it's locally listed building.
Okay. So the next application is 23 Field Close, where I've declared a person with non-pecuniary interest. On that basis, Mike, do you want to take the committee through this one?
Fair enough. You've got
Right, okay, so this one, got some images. So it's sort of kind of on the end, so it's sort of kind of on the end of the cul-de-sac. And here's this image which just shows it,
Yeah,
the side of the
On the
property,
corner.
just to help you understand the proposed extension.
Thank you. Yes, I'm just trying to get the road.
So, Field Close is a little bit like a T, that's what it is. And this property sits at the bottom of the left-hand side of the T. So imagine that's the T, this is where the property is, up here. So you've got houses along here and then it goes down. As you can see, they've got parking out the front for at least 2 cars. And then this thing, the extension, just don't know what that is. It's just a steel cupboard or something. I don't think that's not part of the house, is it? Just looks like a shed.
Heather, would you consider that part of the
Shed,
house?
isn't it?
It's a sort of, it's more like a lean-to, yeah.
Yes.
It's
for storing bikes or something like that?
Yeah, if you can see, I'll try and sort of pan in a little bit closer to it. You can see it's sort of like a wooden structure. I wouldn't have thought that you'd store anything in there with
So-
this in relation to? So basically, because they're extending at the side, I just did this image. You can see that house there is the house that's being extended. So just by having that, the slope of the roof there just helps you because they're bringing it out.
Right.
To, in a sense, they're changing the roof shape, the roof
So
form.
it's kind of that bit of the house, really.
It is. There's actually, Mike's got the other picture that you can see.
Swap.
To be fair. Yeah, so I just thought
Yeah.
that other picture just helps screen it.
So they're looking at filling in the bit above the shed thing, where the satellite issues. That's what they're looking to do, aren't they? Part first floor.
That
part
would seem to
story,
be
side
the-
and rear.
I mean, the shed itself is pretty unsightly.
The element that I've just made sort of in my notes here actually relates to the other side, not the open side as such. It's the other side with number 21. It appears that it's actually attached to the boundary.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
just there. That's,
Have we got
they join.
street or road?
I have, yes. Do you want me to
Yes, please.
just scroll down? You can see, so there's sort of the garage.
Yeah.
The garage
You
is
can see they all
attached.
do it on this side of the road.
Yes.
Definitely down until 5 houses further down. And I don't think anyone else has done that on that road. Just scroll down here, I don't think anyone else has filled in anything.
No, I mean there seems to be this pattern of sort of the garage is
Yes.
sandwiched between
Yeah.
properties.
And then obviously it stops there and it gets
Yeah,
back to bungalows.
It's a very consistent street scene in many ways that exists.
It is, I
And
mean
you
even
can
the
just see,
properties at the
behind
top.
those bushes,
Yeah.
you can just see the shed thing. Pretty good. Well, Harry, have you got any thoughts on this particular thing? You've picked out the shed or whatever you like to call it.
Well,
to
You could call it commercial development of the plot.
this one. Yes.
You could also say it's going to be scale and character. It's going to be out of character potentially with the street here. Well, it will be out of character because nothing else has been done on this scale before, so it will be out of character. What else are we looking at here? Effects on a new adjoining property. But there isn't. The thing is, on that side, you haven't got windows. The way they're built is funny, and then obviously on the other side as well, it's a corner plot, so it's not necessarily affecting the adjoining property.
Do you consider any effect on the street scene from the opposite properties?
I probably think the street scene is one of the points we need to look at and we need to make reference to.
Pip, what do you think of the street scene, for example? Let's just going just to that thing, if you're looking at it from the other side of the road.
To be honest, I can't see a major difference myself from those drawings. Unless I'm being really...
No, that's why I'm raising the point is you have a rather unsightly, to my mind,
I think
unsightly.
Harry's got the plan you're needing to look at.
It's it.
It's this. Now,
And then
that is the...
and that's the adjoining bit. But then so there isn't an extension on where it joins number. Would be number 21, I think.
There is, Harry, there's a two-storey element.
Can I see?
Yeah.
That's
it's
it,
on
'cause I've got the bit
plan that
for-
Pip's got.
Yeah, if you take that one, Pip.
They're building above.
They are building above
Yeah.
the garage. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Well, that is a substantial thing to think about. It does change the character.
It's not. I can't necessarily see, if they're building above the garage, considering the neighbouring property, it's sloped, how are they then fitting it in? How are they doing the construction there? Because you see, you've got the slope, so it's not necessarily, the lines aren't straight. Are they literally just filling in below the what's
Yes, they are.
the ridge?
The roof form has,
Yeah.
I'll try and show you on there.
Good.
The roof form will essentially come up like that,
Ooh.
okay, and it will be the same on the other side too.
Well,
They're building above
Well,
the garage here,
yeah.
it will come
hang
up.
on, I think we've got, I'm glad you did that, Heather,
Yeah.
because
If the plan isn't the clearest,
No,
there's not the
I'm
most detailed lines.
Struggling
Yes,
with
on
the
this,
lines.
it looks like it's making out that this is going to be,
Yes,
but you're saying it's actually going up here.
Yes. Because this is the roof, it's here. Can you see, coming up here? It's not the clearest
That's the rear
line.
though. That's the front of the house, yeah?
Remember, they're getting rid of one of the, I think the single-storey extension.
Existing
They're getting rid of.
proposed.
I think they're getting rid of this.
we did with that.
Proposal,
I
isn't
think.
it? Not up
And
there.
building a new.
It is,
Right, okay, so it's coming, yeah, it is coming out the other side. So rather than, Harry, may I see that? How are they achieving that building above the garage then? How are they getting
That's what I don't
the
know.
bedroom?
It's not, because this is garage, proposed ground floor plan, garage here, utility. It looks like they're just, in terms of the lines on the property with the triangle of the roof, it's not clear, but I think they're just going,
They're
like
going
you
out
say,
on the
upwards.
roadside, aren't they?
Yeah.
This
Do
is
I-
the roadside.
do I get the feeling?
Right,
that it is-
okay, the reason, okay, right. It needs to turn it that way
Yeah.
to understand it, yes, there we go.
Yes,
So, yes, they're coming out the other way with the roof form. So
Yeah.
we're not that
But it's not
side above the
the
garage,
oh,
it's
right.
coming out the other side.
oh,
But it's still coming out at a different angle than what we've currently got here.
well, do you think this
So,
makes
I mean,
such
just to
a...
clarify, just
Oh,
to clarify, as you've now discussed, this is
It's around the other way.
This is an extension that comes out from the ridge height, from the height of the ridge, in a gable format, which will then align to where that lean-to is at the back.
Yeah.
Yes,
And so there'll be a big, significant gable wall
Like that.
where that silver car is parked at the moment.
So this will be the gable.
yes.
Yeah. So you've got on one side, it looks completely different to the other side. Well, it will look completely different. Make a funny looking house.
It does.
Okay, I mean, the only other factual thing I would throw in, there is a property at the end of the T which has been extended.
Oh, what, the one up here?
Yeah.
Far right, yeah.
So, can you not go any further?
No.
Just go
Oh,
Ooh,
no,
down the
well,
road.
it's across, I'm afraid.
That's very slow.
Well, you might still be able to see it from here, actually.
There you go, that's good.
If you go down Field Close a little bit and then look up to the top corner, you might be able to see that there is something of a precedent. They're not all the same. And just
There's the T.
fraction more,
Fraction more up the road.
yeah. And now look over and you can just about see that there is an extension on the side there.
This one here.
Yeah.
You could, if you turn around here, Heather, you might be able to... There
There
we
you
go.
go. Good.
Oh, there we go.
So different
think-
sort of extension.
I think that's what they're trying to do.
It's,
We're trying-
those houses are different though, in style.
Are they?
Yeah.
Jump over the
It's
wall.
like, I know, I think for Doctor Who, it's just very smoothly on the back.
For 4 beds, it's only 3 parking spaces they have to provide anyway, isn't it?
I mean, they're not
Which I think
that much different.
they're keeping the garage.
There is a consistent difference there. Tips, your thoughts?
I personally don't mind it. I mean, it's not. I think it would look horrendous.
If it was
It would be horrendous if it was going the other way.
Yeah, I misunderstood the plan.
Yeah.
I'm glad, thank you for pointing the thing out. I think looking at the we were looking almost sideways on the wrong way round. And I do think that would have been way out of order, but it's, as it goes with, when you talk about the silver car and the shed sort of thing, I don't think that's, I mean, my personal view, and I listened to you, Harry, as well, because I heard this then, I think that's quite consistent with what happened down the road.
Yeah, I was worried that it was the other side. It still looks a bit funny, but there is now a precedent on the street. Those houses up there aren't too dissimilar to the other houses, so I'm happy that it has been done at least once. I mean, to be honest, in terms of amenity, it's fine. It's not really an overdevelopment of the plot. I mean, its scale isn't too big now that we've just realised it is just that's what they're trying to do, that bit there. I mean, I do think it does look a bit out of keeping, even though there is one other extension on that close that's similar.
We're not in a conservation zone.
Yeah, we're not in a conservation zone, so we can't refuse this, and I don't...
Do you think we should express concern regarding parking?
Will that be an issue? Are they planning to put another bedroom in here?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're
And
having
we've
a
got...
bedroom, but actually they're keeping the garage, aren't they?
Well, the garage, I'm not sure it's a true garage in the sense
Oh,
that
they're changing it
yeah,
to-
it's just like more of a store.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, well, actually no, tell a lie, no, it is okay. Yeah, it is okay. But something to sort of bear in mind is that in a sense that they have the luxury of being able to potentially do this because they are at the very end of the road.
Yes.
So if you're sort of talking about having setting a precedent, I don't think other people potentially would have the luxury of being able to attempt to do this because they don't have that.
Well,
that
do I get the feeling then from you that there's no problem with this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, in terms of parking spaces, we can get 2 in there at the moment, I think.
Well, if you look, it's pretty much, it's sort of kind of paved over quite...
Yes, it's pretty much all paved over,
Really?
except you've just got a big tree on the corner here. And just...
Is that tree even still there? Because this drawing is 2009.
This is 2009, I can't remember, I was down here recently and I can't remember if there's a tree still there. So, yeah, if they want to put another car parking space, that might be...
Okay, so what are sort of our...
Well, moving on then I think we've got your...
I'm happy now with it, now that I know exactly, after looking at the plans, it was a bit confusing.
I would be happy with that it's been explained. I was confused to start with about which side of the thing was, but
we could put something like subject to appropriate use of materials and parking, sufficient parking.
As long as the garage is big enough to fit a car in, I think they've got enough room to throw anyway.
Yeah.
well, the material side, I think it would be similar, but I'm more concerned probably about certainly the right to express. I'm not concerned to point out the parking consistency here.
The only reason I mention materials is because you've got that theme there at the moment, and that looks out of keeping.
Does totally.
So maybe just mentioning materials might...
Well, I think they're losing that. So
Well, yeah, they are losing that. Just to sort of reiterate the materials.
Is that
restricted
just the same?
Well,
Well, generally we don't refer to materials unless it's conservation area.
Okay.
Exactly, that's why I'd rather not do that one.
Okay, so essentially really we have no objections subject to sufficient parking, provision,
Yes.
provided on the site.
precisely.
Yep.
Precisely.
Excellent.
Moving
Okay,
on.
let's move on.
What?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Couldn't help that I misunderstood the plan, I'm sorry.
I thought I was going round.
They are funny buildings on that road, because they all do join via the garage.
Yes.
So the next
Okay.
one is a non-material amendment. Is this anything significant?
No. Proposal to change the flat roof lantern to lead sheet instead.
Okay. No objection? Yeah,
No
happy with
objection.
that. 118 Cravels Road, part single, part two-storey rear extension. No objection subject to appropriate design and use of materials.
Yeah, which is in the conservation zone.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then 80 Wheat Hampstead Road, two-storey side, part single, part two-storey rear extension.
Yeah, this is a substantial open plot, which is able to accommodate the proposals. Elements have already been approved that we're proposing here. Ample parking and amenity space. It's basically the big house that's on the corner with High Spurs, I think it is.
High First Crescent.
Yeah.
I think so. It is a large property.
Okay, but one of them would be home.
I don't think,
Oh, no.
No, okay, don't worry.
Yeah, quite a substantial.
very substantial property.
No, don't worry. It's fine.
It's yeah, basically this one. It's Meadway actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah. On the
Yeah.
corner of Wheatonstead Road
That's
and
it.
Meadway.
Meadway.
On the side
Well,
of the Wheatonstead Parish Council Board, or on the other
Yeah,
side.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Done.
yeah, that's fine.
Then we go to Bandlewood, East Common, single-storey rear extension, demolition of existing conservatory. No objection subject to appropriate design and use of materials in the conservation area.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine.
Okay. Then Clayton House, 5 to 7 Vaughan Road. This seems very similar to the previous one, Helen.
Essentially just the change of use application to the previously approved application form. Essentially just the change of use application to the previously approved application for the existing raising of the roof.
So,
I
was
see.
he put the same application in again?
Yeah, so this is, where are we? Hang on, let me just look at the wording again. Yeah, so this is basically, they've got planning permission to
I
extend,
remember, yeah.
and this is now to have a change of use of the first floor. Before they hadn't applied for the change of use, they just put in this application to raise the roof.
Yes,
Oh
I
yeah, it
can't
was on
see a
the
problem.
third floor.
Basically though, we refer, or often when we get these sort of things to the parking issue, but when you've got town centre places, there's no parking anyway. And they cannot be provided, so whether it's worth raising, putting that in, I don't know. It's just whether it is a material thing from, which was, this sort of thing comes up, as you know, mentioned even today, that some private meeting, that what is happening down in the town centre. But I see that this particular one was just a change of use. Bear in mind that they've got the planning permission.
Yeah, because if you look here, the history from before, they just literally applied for raising the ridge height to accommodate 2 flats on the third floor.
Yeah.
That's
And
it. There
if
was no actual
when I was
detail.
I remember that.
And I remember this one when they were talking about the height and whether it affected the other side of the road, and of course
Yeah.
it didn't. It was totally immaterial.
Yeah, I remember that well.
Okay,
I've
I'm happy
problem
with
with
the
it.
recommendation as it stands.
Yes, I would just read. Go for the header.
Yeah. So we've done Bowers Way, so then we've got a non-material amendment at 66 Crabtree Lane. Anything significant there, Heather?
The proposed changes are only minor and relate mainly to the changes in windows and doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So then we come to 48 Barnfield Road.
Barnfield Road.
So this, I seem to remember, is a semi-detached property.
This one here.
Yeah, where they're proposing a side extension, two-storey side extension to the subordinate of the hip roof, which seems relatively sympathetic. However, there's also quite a significant chunky single-storey rear projection, which is a little bit alarming, but then next door extends quite a significant way back as well, as you can see in that photo that we've got here. But this will take, am I right in saying, Heather, this will go up to the boundary?
Yes, it does, yeah. A lot's going on along the boundary and along the side elevation, she's on 50. Projecting more to the rear on the ground and first floor level than in Harpenden.
Yeah, it's
Parking, I've got a question mark.
So it goes up to the boundary.
I mean, they don't have a lot of space on Barnfield Road.
Goes up to the boundary on ground floor level all the way along, and then it steps in for the second floor or for the first floor.
So there's a few issues. One is 45-degree issue in relation to number 45, but there is a drawing somewhere which seems to suggest that that's okay. Is that one you've got? Okay. Yeah. So the building up to the 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that also highlights very well the single-storey rear projection, which is significant, quite chunky. But I think on that little diagram next to it,
the neighbour goes much further. It's kind of, that means with the neighbour building up to the boundary and these up to the boundary, there is no access at all. It's brick to brick.
You don't, I mean, we've seen applications before on Barnfield Road, both on this side of the road and on the other side, and they really don't have a lot of space for the extensions that they've been putting in applications for, because they are so boundaries so close together. So this one also could be an overdevelopment.
Yeah, I mean, we've had concerns about design of roof forms as well here, but I think what they're proposing in terms of the two-storey element is relatively sympathetic and subservient to the main elevation of the house. Whereas in some of them, we've had a hip roof on one side and then wanted a gable roof on the other, so it's going to affect the symmetry. I think the design of this, in terms of the front elevation, is more sympathetic, albeit it's taking some of that driveway space. But then we've got the single-storey element as well to contend with here.
Personally, I just don't like that here again. There's no way around this property at all.
Yeah, you look at the bottom. I mean, right, thanks.
I think as David said, the second floor bed is perfect. It's symmetrical and fits in nicely. But the principal of going to go back to the boundary is, I know they want to get car in.
Well, they're doing it to get more accommodation.
Yes.
And that room on the plans, Mike, is that described as a garden room or something, isn't it?
Well, let's see. Yes, it is described as garden room.
So living accommodation. But yeah, obviously there are many houses around town where you go right up to the boundary.
Yes, you can't go past that. I agree with you.
Where do people stand?
Well, I can't see an amenity problem, to be honest with the adjacent property. Street scene is perfectly okay. I think that there's quite a sympathetic design for the second floor. I think that's been quite well done.
What about space around the building?
Where you've got the research space.
Yes.
That was understood. And that is the one I raised straight away.
I think it's quite difficult because the neighbour extends even further along.
Yes, there goes there, you see it on
The thing is, what stop people building up to that, that's why it's
Not at ground floor level.
Right.
All over
Yes.
Harpenden
Oh.
properties, you can't access.
And it will
unless you
go on.
to your neighbour's
Yes.
ground.
So we've certainly
Okay.
got concerns about parking,
Mm.
but do we have a strong view about the built form? I'm inclined to say no objection, I think so.
I don't have any particular objection to it, Royce used to say the built form. No, and bearing in mind, as Pip has said, people go right up the boundary anyway, because you know, it makes it a terrace. But but that's
We
it.
can't really do much about it, can we?
Or particularly the investment of the neighbourhood in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Okay.
you do.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want to mention anything about the parking though?
Yes,
I did
definitely.
query the parking.
No, we're
Yeah.
expressing concern about
Express
that.
concerns, you
No,
usual.
we're not rest. Yeah.
Sorry.
We've got no objections to the proposed extension, however,
The committee expressed concern about insufficient parking.
okay.
Okay, so then we're going to 22 Churchfield, single-storey rear extension, partial garage conversion to habitable accommodation. Anything you want to add to that?
Extended back 2.5 metres on the ground floor, which extends beyond the neighbours, building over the existing flat roof and proposed ground floor extension. Shouldn't cause any impact, although the design has become quite busy. No additional bedrooms, just extending them.
Yep, happy with that.
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah. So then 28 Leighton Road, this is...
The old bean tree.
Yeah, Westman's restaurant. So this is a resubmission in relation to an extractor system. We had some quite clear wording before, and we
Yeah.
just proposed to
Yeah,
that.
you-
Basically, the scheme does not differ from the last existing scheme. I'm not sure why they withdrew it, but even down to the fact that the plan is exactly the same, even the reference on it is the same. So
We've withdrawn it twice already.
Yeah.
Okay, all wording is good.
And then back to Churchfield, 35 Churchfield. So this was withdrawn. So you've got a response as before.
Yeah, so
Was
the-
there meant to change?
The only fundamental change to the previous application is to change the roof form. HTC's concerns from before still stand.
Yeah. So happy with the repeating of our...
Yes.
Yeah, it's all in the solar
Yes.
panels, so.
Okay, so 33 Stewart Road, slightly strange one. They're knocking down an extension to number 33, single-storey extension, in order to create a plot for a brand new house.
Plots with the blue spots, and essentially behind the edge.
Big hedge that, yeah, obscures things on Street View. There is a Street View image, isn't there, Heather? That's that one.
Yeah.
So they're proposing a new house with a ridge line not too dissimilar to what's gone before, but this time it's got a gable end rather than the adjoining property have a head end. There's no garage, but the driveway would
It's more than
be
full,
more than
yeah.
adequate. And then in terms of the implications for the house that's been reduced in size, they've still got a garage, and again they've got significant driveway there.
Is that just a one-bedroom house? Oh, no, sorry, four-bedroom.
And then, yes, this is quite a significant detached house.
Oh, yeah.
going on there. And is there bases as well?
I think, I don't think there is actually. I think they're just going in the loft.
So, I don't have much of an objection, I have to say.
I mean, when you first look at it, it looks cramped, but actually when you see that it's sort of huge plots, and
Yeah,
actually all the houses up here.
are pretty.
Because that house, the newish house to the left of it, is
Yes.
quite successful.
Very much so, yes.
You can see actually in the...
Aerial shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the images, one of the pictures that I printed off, you can see it's quite a... there's another one, I think actually it's under the plan under Mike's hand there.
Yeah.
That one there, you can see it's quite a substantial house. It's going to be next door to.
No objections, I take it.
No, there's
Right, well, that's where I'm coming from.
no objection at all to us.
You might just,
quite well.
you just might want to add no loss of immunity to
Yes.
neighbours.
Yeah.
Our parents and all the Germans plan opposite us, and I can see that it fits in as a large plot. No problem.
Okay, right, can we pass the pages back then?
Yes. I'm sorry, I got through them all off the chair.
So we don't need to comment on the next one, and then it's 36 Roundwood Park, conversion of garage to habitable accommodation. You were saying no objection to sufficient parking, but I
Yeah.
saw the driveway there.
Appears to be ample parking provisions to the front to accommodate approximately 3 cars. I believe this to be sufficient. But it's just because of their losing the garage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Generally,
Okay, so we're content with that.
Consent.
Then we go about 74 Tufnell's Way.
Very good.
So this is an extension to the side in front of the garage and then to the other side as well.
neighbour has a porch in a similar style. Long drive, long enough to accommodate approximately 2 cars. Question if that's enough. It's 4 bedrooms. All extensions are on ground floor level. Rear appears to be in line with the neighbour. Front does not extend beyond the neighbour.
Yeah. I mean, these are quite long driveways, but they're in single width, which is not ideal, but unfortunately the situation exists at the moment. Okay, happy with it?
Yes, wording's good.
So then 20 Roundwood Gardens, we've got an application which appears very similar to previous one where HTC recommended refusal and St Albans refused. Could you spot the difference?
Cannot see significant changes to the proposal, enough to change the committee's previous concerns.
Okay, so in fact we recommend refusal then.
Must be the same.
No comment required on the uplands. We've then got 10 East Common, single-storey rear extension within the conservation area.
Yeah, and proposed extensions do not extend any further than the existing rear ground floor projection. A number of other properties have done similar.
Yep.
Okay. And then 33 Oakfield Road, some relatively minor changes.
Yeah, the proposed changes are not significant to the design and appearance of the proposal. If anything, they are more synthetic. Proposed decorative timber adds character.
Oh, controversial.
Mm.
Done.
Right, notes on the application.
Yeah.
Julie Nick.
Yeah. So you go, oh, do something different.
67 Highfield Avenue. Single-storey rear extension, roof lights, garage conversion. Is there enough parking here, Emma?
Proposed rear extension doesn't extend any further than the neighbour's property. Concern over the loss of garage, however, this appears to be a store anyway. Drive will accommodate 3 cars at a push, no additional bedrooms.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
no
that's
objection.
right.
This is the one when I was getting, I knew there was one where there was a garage that was actually really a store, and I was confusing if actually all close.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
then there's one, well there's 2 applications here you've asked us to reflect on.
Yeah,
So this is the post office.
It is, yeah. I sort of kind of chickened out a little bit with these, partly not that I had massive issues with them. I just wanted to really give the committee an opportunity to just glance at them and make sure really that they were generally happy. This one relates to the changes to the window, and they're getting rid of the ATM and replacing it with a window, and this relates to the awning as well.
So there's a proposal to stick awning over the ground floor window. Has this come to this committee before?
No.
What's an awning?
Blinds, not blinds,
Things that you find on French restaurants, given that this is a
French restaurant, yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So they're going to stick out about half a metre, Harry.
Yeah.
Some people use them for putting a coffee table outside.
Yeah, I know.
There's countries which are decidedly more funny.
Yeah, well, I think that would look nice.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it's not quite half of the conservation area, to be honest. But
it's a shame. It's a chain restaurant. I do like independent restaurants, but we have all these chains these days. But I think it would be nice. That's the problem.
I mean, they have a bit of a problem. You know, the windows are so small.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I suppose they fear there's a risk that the place wouldn't be noticed.
Yes.
And this is one way of
Getting character.
It will improve the character of the place. And then we look at the situation, what is Station Road has lots of eateries and everything. This is a pretty good quality place, actually. You take one of St Albans, and I think what they would improve the character of the hotel. It's gone so far down this line now. Change of the other aspect of it. I see no.
And then there's a bit of signage as well. They're talking about the sign at the front being halo sign.
Yes, so that's another application.
Yeah.
That's the next one, yeah. We do this one first.
We outside Simmons. Do they have warnings outside Simmons?
Yeah, they're a much more sort of more traditional style of awning. These are sort of almost fixed. These will be there and you can't
roll them back.
No, I don't think.
They meant to look like past the facial on us in many ways.
So you hope they're going to keep them clean. This sort of thing gets grubby and dirty, but obviously, as we say, this is on the right hand, it's a well-known restaurant chain which they do things properly.
French
I mean, Simmons have got an issue that they don't want the cream cakes melting in the sun. That's
correct.
On the other side of the
Yes.
This is purely to make a functional post office building look a little bit more attractive, particularly given that you can't really see in through the windows to get a sense of what's going on.
The windows are very high, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're right to try and bring some kind of character to a dullish post office building to try and attract people through their door. I don't necessarily have a problem with the awnings.
Okay, so you look at it?
Not
I
for me.
would prefer not to see them, but I don't feel like being humbug enough to
I'm looking forward to some nice French food then. We have
Dinner's on Harry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We go on a Tuesday evening together.
We have lots of Italian, lots of Indian restaurants in Harpenden, but we don't seem to have anything other than that kind of vibe.
Yes, I'm going to minute it. Councillor.
Well.
So just to recap, so we're saying just no objection, are we? Subject to design materials in the conservation area, that's sort of goal.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the status signs, which
this one did have a bit more of an issue. That I think I've got different plans. Yeah, those are for the halo signs. So I've got here, ensure that nature of the signage illumination fits with the committee's wishes. Halo illumination to the main sign and internally illuminated menu holder.
Well, we've had problems with internally illuminated menu holders before, haven't we? At Strada or Prezzo. And to be honest, I really can't see an issue in relation to menu.
Well, the contents of it, or the fact that it goes to illuminate.
But then there's the main signage on the front facer, and there's also a little side facer as well,
Yeah.
in the vertical sign.
Are you worried?
Does this have any effect on the amenity of the flats and the apartments above the property or the restaurant itself?
I don't think so, to be, what, above, you mean?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
I don't think it's going to be
Actually,
gaudy enough,
Well,
do you think? That it's,
sorry, can I just go
Yeah.
back a second? In relation to the previous application, okay, so they've got their extractor fans and what have you agreed previously, looking at the application from 2016. Okay, so they're not coming back with extractor fans and awnings, this is just awnings, the previous one.
yeah.
And then this latest one is just signage.
The first one
Oh,
was
fine.
related to the entrance door, replacement entrance door, reinstatement of the ground floor window following removal of the ATM, and those new awnings. That was what that one related to.
Yeah.
And then the next one relates purely to signage.
Okay, so the sign on the side is not lit, that's just dull lettering, I think, isn't it? The vertical sign.
Yes, this one here that's sort
Yeah.
of on the bit that juts out.
But then the signing on the front is the sort of backlit
Yeah,
sign.
the halo, yeah.
Which we allowed at HSBC across the road,
Yes.
I think, haven't we?
Yes, we did.
And so it's not internally illuminated as such.
No.
No.
It's obviously sort of illuminated from behind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somehow it just creates a background
Is that
glow.
similar to the slab and lettuce sign, the illumination?
I don't think it's quite as bright as the other one,
So,
but possibly similar.
so
I
I
don't
think
know.
I can't think I'm looking from an economic point of view, I think we'd be very negative if we...
Haven't we said no to one of the other companies down at the station road having...
Yeah, that was
That was a big advert, wasn't it?
that was for the surgeon, that was for the physio or
Wasn't
someone.
it just the name of the company?
No, it was a big, I thought it was a
Was it
big
physio?
advert, wasn't it? It was a big
Yeah.
advertising
And
For
it,
thing.
the surgeon or physio, whoever it was.
well, I think it's sort of professional firm or something.
That was it, yeah.
I got a bit of stick for sticking my neck out, but then Norman actually took the same view as me on it. But I think, I mean, it is an issue, and it, is it Harpenden? But the previous one was right across a big gable wall on the side of the post office, whereas because this is narrower and it's just a little bit sticking out.
I think this is quite tasteful.
Go ahead.
Well, go on.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Very kind.
Medium rare.
So it's policy, it's what I'm trying to think, policy 80,
Well done.
no, it's policy
Rare.
90, isn't it? It's advertising compensation.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Now I didn't get around to looking at this one. For Byron Road, that's just a non-material amendment. So, rendering, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
This is not significant, is it? Okay.
Basically, this one at Byron Road, not currently going to carry out the front extension which permission was granted for, therefore wish to render the section not already given permission for.
Right. Okay. And then the final one is variation on condition. Was that anything else?
Proposed changes are sympathetic to design and area of the property, more in keeping, no changes to the house, just boundary treatment. It relates to sort of I think they wanted to have something much more sympathetic. There were some big gates or something they had permission for before, and they were actually wanting to have a much more sympathetic lower fence line with the nice hedging and things.
Right.
Here we go, yes. The first change is to realign the front driveway to add a further parking space alongside the garage. The second change is to add a pair of painted timber gates to the originally approved brick gate posts and to omit the approved 600mm high brick wall with fence above, across the frontage, and to retain only the proposed laurel hedge which was part of the design originally granted consent. The applicant would now like not to build a wall and to have a simple evergreen hedgerow alongside the gate. Quite compatible with the street scheme, which includes everything from open plan frontages to walls, gardens.
Okay.
So that's what I have there.
Yeah, this is where we got a little bit pretentious when we had the committee consider the Lloyd Wright East.
Yes. So, I did see that, and I did think,
It's all about memory.
was that A or B? But no,
Well done.
it's got to be David. That's right, that's honestly what I said.
It was us, definitely. Right, so the meeting concludes at, 8:56. And we're going to note, before we do that,
Yes.
we are just going to note the appeal that's been lodged, and the decisions, and the tree work.
coming.
Happy to note all those?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent, thank you.